right, welcome to another video. I'm out here in my garage, it's wintertime in Oregon, and today I have something completely different for you. Now before I get into this, a little bit of background. I love to make videos for YouTube. I've had a ton of fun doing that, but I'm also a pretty big consumer of YouTube content. And the thing I like most about it is how you can learn so many new skills completely for free. So I love to look through YouTube, see what videos are out there, what I can learn, and how I can improve my own skills. And one channel I came across lately and got kind of addicted to is called Boat Busters. And on that channel, he'll take outboards, older ones like this, that maybe aren't running, but are otherwise fundamentally okay, get them fixed up and running, get them cleaned up, and actually sell them for profit. And that just seemed really exciting. Now, to be fair, I'm not 100% a beginner. I've been around outboards for most of my life, but really just using them and boating, never really getting inside and trying to understand how they work. And I've had people around like my dad and some few other friends that are pretty good at outboards, but I just never really asked a lot of questions about it. It was never really my thing. So most of what I've learned, the vast majority, has come from YouTube. Now I mentioned Boat Busters, there's a couple other channels. There's T Mike's Vintage Outboards. It's really cool, a lot of great information. Another one is Wet Shoes Mechanic. So they've been a lot of fun and I've got a lot of great information from them. But Boat Busters, really, I hope you don't mind me mentioning your channel so much, but it's your fault. So we're gonna see what happens. And again, my question is, can somebody like me, who's really an amateur, especially to the idea of trying to improve the value of these motors, maybe resell them, can I be successful at that? All right, so the first thing you need is an outboard. And it's easier said than done. I found that in my area there was a lot listed on Facebook Marketplace, but getting a good deal was something different. I finally saw this one listed, $200. I went over and met the guy. He was really nice. I made him a cash offer on the spot. I said, hey, would you take 100? He said, you know, I've never used this thing. It just came with a boat I bought, and I just want to get it out of my shop. So sure, $100 cash, you can have it. And he even threw in this fuel tank and fuel line. So I thought that was pretty nice. Now, did I just get a great deal, or did I just pay $100 of tuition to the School of Life? I guess we'll find out together. But I'm pretty excited to try this. So let's get into it and see what we can do. Wait, that didn't really make the noise it does on Boat Busters. Maybe if I hit a little harder. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's do it. Okay, taking a closer look at this 6-horse Johnson, we see that it comes with a MagFlash CD player. That's pretty cool. No, I'm just kidding. I have absolutely no idea what that means. But going down here, here's our choke, slow speed adjustment. This is where the kill switch is supposed to be, but it's not all there, so we'll have to fix that. The pull start, I did try it a little bit when I bought it, and it seemed to work, so fingers crossed that we'll be okay there. This, by the way, is just a zip tie. Doesn't appear to be load bearing, so I think we're fine. We can get rid of that. But let's take off the cowling and see what we've got. Doesn't look too bad. Plug wires are off for some reason. But let's get these plugs out and test the compression and see where we're at. Not too bad. These plugs were basically just finger tight. Looks okay too. About 90, seems pretty good. Check the bottom cylinder. $90. That seems great. As excited as I am to get this outboard running, we are going to need a way to stop it once we do. And that would be with this switch here, which, as I already said, part of it's missing. I'd like to know if that's the only problem with it. So if we look in here, I don't know if you can see down there, but there's the two wires that come out of it. They're bundled together, that black line. And if you follow it all the way around, it comes out right here. There's one wire there, one going that way. One goes to a common ground, and one goes to this connector right here. So what I'd like to do now is take apart this connector so we have access to each wire, and then we could be able to do a test to see if the only thing wrong with this is really just this switch. So let's do that now. Okay, so I think we're ready for a test. Now coming in here, we have the two wires from the kill switch. One goes to this common ground, and one goes to that connector I just took apart. And I've got my multimeter hooked up to it. and we're set to ohms, and right now it's showing no connection. What should happen is if you push this button, it should make a connection and we'd hear a beep from the multimeter. Now, of course, we don't have a button, but I have a metal screwdriver, and we ought to be able to connect the points like that just by touching them. There we go. Great. Okay, so the only thing wrong with this is we're just missing that little cover that can connect those 2 points when we push the button. Now you can buy the full assembly, except I saw this, and that's 84.87% as much as I already spent on the whole outboard. So I'm gonna look for a cheaper option, see what we can find, but yeah, we're gonna have to fix that, and it shouldn't be too bad. Well, it's a beautiful morning, and so I thought it'd be fun to just try and see if we can get this started. I was looking more closely at these fuel lines. They look pretty new, and they even have these more modern zip ties, which I can't imagine were original. So maybe somebody's already gone through and worked on this and done the hard parts for us. So let's get some water in the tank and hook up the fuel and see if we can get this started. All right. This may be an issue. I totally forgot. All right. Get these hooked up and we'll try that again. Oh. There was another one. Oh, almost. She wants to go. That's great, but not seeing any water. No water here either. Well, that was awesome, but we weren't seeing any water pumping at all. So let me pop off this thermostat cover and let's take a look and see if that's maybe our issue. Whoever had this sure didn't over tighten things, which is great. Well, it doesn't look too bad, but it's dry as a bone. Well, maybe it's not. Yeah, it is. So I think an issue might be with our water pump. Might have to take that apart and take a look. All right, I'm back in the garage. Gonna go ahead and drop this lower unit. We'll take a look at that water pump. If we're lucky, maybe that's our only issue. And from what I understand, it's a good idea to replace those water pumps anyway. It's pretty cheap insurance. So we'll take a look and see what we've got. Well, it doesn't look too bad, but let's get this water pump out and see what it looks like inside. Okay, well here's the impeller from our water pump. And at first it really didn't look that bad to me. But one thing I noticed is that the fins on this side are actually a lot more bent than the ones on this side. And I'm assuming that's just because this has been sitting there for a long time. It sits kind of off center and they kind of got frozen that way. So who knows, maybe this really is our issue. But since I have it off already, it would be silly not to just go ahead and replace it. So I'll go ahead and order a water pump kit, and once it gets here, we can put that in. The other thing I'm thinking I'll replace is this thermostat. I really don't know how to tell if this is still good or not, but it certainly doesn't look new anymore, and it seems like it can't hurt to replace it if it doesn't cost too much, so I'll check into that as well. Now, there is one test I did here on this cooling system that's giving me some hope that maybe the water pump replacement will fix it, and let me show you that right now. So here's what I did. I just took my air compressor, and I went over here, and here's one of the water inlets, and when I put a little air through it, I can actually hear it coming out all the way down there at that end of the tube in the lower unit. So that would seem to be a pretty strong indication there's no blockages. Likewise, if I go here and blow a little air into this hole, I can hear it coming out and feel it coming out right here at this little water outlet. So that's giving me some hope that really nothing is blocked in here, and maybe that new water pump will do the trick. We'll find out. All right, this evening, the friendly Amazon driver just dropped off this brand new impeller and thermostat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these installed, and next time we get the chance, we'll try this again and see if it pumps water. All right, it's the next day. Perfect weather to test our new impeller. Let's see if it works. Got the fuel hooked up, got water in the bucket, and I even have the spark plug wires attached this time. So let's give it a try and see. We had a little bit of water, just a little tiny bit out of the bottom, but nothing out of here. Let's take out the thermostat and see what it looks like. Boy, that is really dry. Boy, I don't know. Maybe I needed a whole new water pump kit instead of just the impeller. I guess I'll start there. We'll have to figure this out. All right, well, here we are a few more days into the future, and I just got this delivered. It's a full water pump kit, and I'm kicking myself a little bit because the cost of this kit was really not that much more than the impeller by itself, so it's probably good to replace the whole thing. Let's go ahead and do that now. All right, there we go. Let's get this put back in and see how it works. Well, that was awesome. I never realized quite how much joy I could get from seeing water come out of an outboard, but here we are. Let's go ahead and get this baby serviced. So I'm pretty sure there should have been more gear lube than just this. But what is there is pretty clean at least, so that's good, I guess. Well, something I found interesting, in addition to the fact that there was about a teaspoon of gear oil in this thing, is the fact that that lower drain plug right there had 2 gaskets, and this top one had 0. So I'm not sure why that was. I assume somebody just screwed up. So now they each have 1 gasket, and we have the lower unit filled with gear oil. So last thing to do is fix that kill switch, but in the meantime, while we're waiting for parts for that, we can go ahead and clean this up a bit and get it looking a little nicer. Well, the last step is to install a shorting switch, and it's taken a long time because I really wanted to find an original one. I just thought that would be nicest. I finally was able to get this one ordered from eBay, about $26, which is still more than I wanted to spend. But unfortunately, when I got it, it's really not usable. The rubber, you probably can't tell from this view, but it's all cracked and dry rotted. And then inside, it's really rough. It's totally corroded. So to be fair, the seller was great about it. He issued me a full refund right away. He didn't even want it back. So that was good. And I ended up just getting this aftermarket one from Amazon, $7.65. So I don't think you can really beat that. It should work just fine. All right, here it is. I think this install turned out great. All right, all done and ready to go. Now, I know the whole premise of this video was to see if an amateur like me could actually fix up an outboard and sell it for profit, but I have to admit, I've gotten really attached to this little motor. It's such a great outboard and I had so much fun working on it. I even realized it was made the year I was born, so I just don't think I can bring myself to part with it, at least not yet. Now, having said that, if I were to sell it, I'm pretty confident I could make a little money. I mean, I don't have that much into it, and it seems to be running really nicely right now. But yeah, I'm going to hang on to it for now. Now, I should remind you that I'm very much a novice, and so if you want to chime in and let me know some of the things I could have done differently, I'd love to hear your feedback. Please don't be too harsh, because again, I'm just a beginner, but I had a lot of fun doing this. I'm going to keep my eyes open for another deal, and maybe I really will sell that one. But in the meantime, thanks a lot for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.